right, welcome to Q Hoop Studio. For those that don't know, and now that I'm new to the YouTube scene, my name is Quenterious Mabone. I'm a sports journalist. I just graduated from Middle Tennessee State University with a bachelor's degree in journalism with a concentration in sports media, also with a minor in writing and leisure tourism sports. So this is my podcast, and I'm starting my own thing to kind of put my name out there with the podcast in the world to actually kind of achieve my dream. Now that I have all the time in the world, pretty much now after college. And before we start with the podcast officially talking about the NBA, which I love the most, now I'm going to talk about my basketball journey and how I kind of got started. Because I never would imagine growing up in Holly Springs, Mississippi, that this was going to be my life probably for the rest of my life. But I want to be involved in basketball. I want to be able to have those conversations with the NBA athlete, the other sports media guys, and just more just having good old barbershop talk, just talking the game within the game, not these narratives, not who's the greatest. We had those conversations, but I want to just talk generally, and I just want to have an audience to talk to. So this is all for pretty much fans who just enjoy the game of basketball, things of pretty much that nature. And for me, I'm just going to talk about my journey and why I started this podcast. So this is probably going to take about maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes, but just hope you listen and give me feedback and just make sure you subscribe to Q Hoops. And we're gonna have content coming out. Now that I got all the time in the world, we're gonna have all content types of flowing. So let's just get to it. So for me, my journey with basketball kind of started late for me. I remember going to my friend's house, and this is around fifth grade. And I went over his house and we were just playing wrestling because at the time I was just a big wrestling fan. So I ended up seeing in the corner of his room, he had this goal with his rim and he had this ball, and I was like, yo, what is this? And he said, oh, it's a basketball. I was like, what do you do with it? He's like, you just throw the ball into the hoop, and that's how it is. And I left his house fascinated. I was like a kid in the can, so I was like, this is intriguing because I had never heard of it. I know my pops played, back in the day. That's all I knew. I just didn't know the game as much. So I kind of went home that day like, man, what is this? So I'm pretty much at school just playing ball every day with my friends in gym, and I kind of got fascinated with the game. I would watch on the computer. So Kobe Bryant highlights. He was the first guy I really only knew because my dad was a Celtics fan, and I at the time I didn't like the Greens. I was like I despised the Celtics, so that's when my love for Kobe and the Lakers in a way kind of grew. So I get to sixth grade year where I my friends are all on the team and they were thinking about trying out. And I at the time really wasn't confident. I didn't really know if I wanted to do this. This is gonna be something I was really interested in because I just thought it was for fun. And there was a guy that came in from another school and he was trying out and he was letting me know like, hey, just go for it. At the end of the day, if you make it, you make it. You don't, you don't. But like me, I've never played. I never did much. We would be in gym playing pickup, but I didn't know the rules. I didn't know what a travel. I didn't know what a pivot was. I didn't know, what a free throw. Like, I didn't know nothing. So I'm just learning the game as I'm going along. The first day, like I knew it wasn't a joke because my coach, he ended up, telling me it wasn't no joke because I was lollygagging around playing. He was serious. I was like, man, if this is what this like, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this. I didn't like I didn't even have basketball shoes. I had Skechers. I had Skechers on the court, so I had to end up going buying Jordans and to get some basketball gear and kind of picked up. We kind of get to about 6 months later. I mean, 6 weeks later, I'm on the team, and I really wasn't playing as much. I got in for about maybe 5 minutes, and then garbage time like 2 minutes late in the game, but I enjoyed it. I was on the floor with my friends. I got to play, and then the first year we went undefeated. We got all the way to our division championship, and we went undefeated. We only had one close game, but we ended up winning it all. And I remember we had donuts and like sweets the whole day. And the next day, I get up like 5 in the morning, get ready for school, get into school about 6, and I'm thinking I'm just enjoying this feeling. I'm like, this is a feeling that I'm really enjoying. Cause I was like, now like everybody celebrate. I'm like, and nobody remembers like this is a feeling I want. So that whole summer, that was my journey starting basketball. I worked my tail off. I would go outside every day, shooting the basketball. I wanted to become a better player offensively, so I was shooting the basketball. And overnight, I just became a hard working shooter. There was a point where I just couldn't miss. Like I was kind of becoming a little bit of Steph Curry in a little bit. And then I started modeling my game a little bit out there when I made the team. And our whole team from last year had left. So I got promoted to becoming a starter. We had a new coach. We had a few like 10 new guys, but our season got cut short because a lot of our games just got canceled because of weather conditions and things like that. But my confidence was up, and the thing about it though was, even with my confidence up, I still was struggling. I couldn't score the ball. I couldn't, like, in game time. I couldn't shoot for nothing. When it came to practice, I was the best player on the court every single time. I was thinking, why is that? And now I know why, because mentally I just wasn't practicing the way I should have. I wasn't practicing with a plan and a purpose. I was just out there shooting shots. I didn't have the mindset like now, if it was me where I'm making, maybe 1,000 shots every time I'm outside. Back then, I was just shoot a shot. If it go in, it go in. If it don't, it don't. So that's where it pretty much, for my journey, it started. Then it picked up when I got to eighth grade year, because eighth grade year I ended up leaving the private school I was at to go to this public school because our school got shut down. And I didn't make the team there, but I wanted to go, I was high school, I wanted to be on the team. So I was like, now I got to model my game more to be an all around guy that can be a team player, because now I'm playing with guys who are more probably physically stronger than me, probably more gifted than me, work harder than me. So now I got to think maybe athletically, athletically I'm not there, fundamentally sound out there. And then I had a growth spurt. I went from 5'3" to like 5'8", and then when I got to high school, I became like 6 foot. So I was like, I'm gonna focus on defense. So every day we were in gym, I just focused on getting better defensively. I started watching like little clips on like Kawhi Leonard, and one of the things he would do is the dig steal, where you know you're playing on the weak side, the help side, and the on ball defender brings the guy closer to you, and you just rip the ball out the guy's hand. You just kind of like put your hand in the cookie jar a little bit. I kind of watched Michael Jordan defensive stance, Gary Payton, Patrick Beverly, and even a little bit of Keem. And I was thinking, man, if I'm doing all this hard work, maybe it pays off. Maybe I will, eventually get on the team. I tried my best, and it just wasn't enough. And a lot of it comes on me more so than the opportunity, because a lot of time they had who they had, but I didn't train as hard. I didn't work as hard. And again, that all falls on me. And if I could go back in time, trust me, with my plan now, I would have worked harder, did better. And I wasn't in peak shape like I was. So we get the 10th grade year, I didn't I didn't even try out for the team. I just played recreation ball. That was my first time playing center, and that game was terrible. I couldn't do anything. I just refused to sit in the paint. I was just so used to being a shooter. Like, my coach had to tell me at halftime, like, get in the paint and be a big man. And after that, I was like, okay, this is another challenge. So now I got to learn how to play big man, which I did. I watched Tim Duncan in the post, what he was doing to Keem defensively, and then LaMarcus Aldridge, who was one of the guys who I was intrigued with his game in the post because of his size. He was great in the post. He had, every combo for every defender. So if Duncan was on him, he would hit him with this, one dribble pull up, take it off the glass. Take it off the rim and do what he had to do. It's just different stuff. So that was pretty much where I kind of figured, like, I can really play. Then get to 11th grade. I tried the best I could. And then I got to that condition that first day. I was exhausted. I couldn't do what I used to do. I couldn't. We was on the track. We were stretching, and we had to literally run from one side of the track to the other. I basically there. I took my shirt off because it was like 80 degrees. I run to the other side, and it's like I couldn't even do that, and I ended up slipping and falling because I lost my grip on my shoes. And like this side of my shoulder, it was like you just see all like blood and skin. And at that point, I remember getting in the car, and my mom picked me up, and it was just like I was exhausted. You could just feel the heavy breathing. It just felt like my body was saying, like, you can't do it. You just gotta stop, because if you keep going this rate, you're going to hurt yourself, and you're not gonna be able to get through it. I was like, it's not even worth it just to be on this team. So that's where my journey kind of took a turn. It was like, wow, this might be it for me. I don't know if this is it. But I was like, I got too much time and put too much work to let it go to waste. So if I wasn't going to play, I was like, well, let me do something else. So I get the senior year before college comes up, and I was thinking, I do want to go to college. And I was like, what am I going to major in? So I had a lot of people telling me, go do sports medicine, maybe become a trainer in that field, like science field. Then I was thinking, that's not a bad idea, but it was like I didn't feel like taking all those science and math and college courses. Then I got to the point where it was maybe coaching. I was like, I was interested in coaching because I wanted to kind of understand what is really it is as a coach. Because I remember we had career day back like around when I started playing, and I wanted to be a coach. And Lionel Hollins was the coach of Grizz at the time, so I kind of wanted to understand like how he was. And then a few years later, he ended up getting fired. But that was a kid at the time, so I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. It was just a thought because I never had a dream, the aspiration to go to the NBA. I wanted to play basketball. It was for fun for me, but this is my livelihood. I can't go a single day without watching some type of hoop, whether it's high school, pros, WNBA, college. It just doesn't matter. I'm just surrounded with it. So I get to the point where I'm honest with myself. I'm like, I can talk the game, I understand it, but I got to grow to where I can get to the point where I can talk with, the best of them. So I was like, let me find something that maybe does with that. So I was like, okay, sports media is a thing where you have people who talk behind the scenes, talk the game, former athletes, personalities like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and Jalen Rose, things of that nature. I was like, let me go do that. So I had to find a school that did that. And luckily I found, at Middle Tennessee State, they had a program that was opening up. That was journalism. It was a concentration that was focused on sports media. So I was intrigued. I was like, okay. I took a visit and the rest was history. I ended up going there. And the first day, we I got a glimpse into it the first day of class. I was like, this is the real deal. Because I didn't even understand what it meant. I was intrigued because at the end of the day, it just said sports media. I was like, okay, so maybe it's just learning about sports and just learning the different fields you can go into. But I learned, there's, the broadcasting side, there's the writing side, the journalism side, what I was um basically what my name was, the PR side. So all those parts, they play the same role as you can make an impact doing that like you would on the court. So that's what I was doing, and I was doing the best. And then one day I just was in class. I was like, "Do I really want to do this? Is this really what I want to do?" So I talked to my teacher, my professor. His name is Chris Bacon, and he just kept it real with me. I just showed him something I was working on, I wanted to do, and he asked me like what I wanted to be. And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I was like, I want to, kind of be there like Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Charles was on Inside NBA, but it was like, he told me to be real. It's like, those guys have the NBA profession. They have the resume of they were former players. It's other than Ernie, they're former players. So it's like, if you want to do that, you got to stand out in your own way and figure out what is it that you want to do. And after that day, that conversation with him, I was like, okay, this is what this field is. So it's like, it's just like sports where it's competition, it's competitive. You got to have an edge. So that was I was trying to figure out that time of age, and then we get to um spring 2020, and COVID hit. I was literally on my way home. I left I think Friday, left Middle Tennessee State Friday, went back home to Memphis, and by the time I got to Monday and Tuesday, it literally was like they kept telling us don't come back. Because at the time I didn't know how serious COVID. Well, really, none of us did. We just thought it was like Ebola. It was just one thing's gonna pass, and then they said stay at home. It's online classes, so it was already like a tough stretch. Because that week was frustrating for me. I was having assignments due, this and that. I ended up going to my first women's basketball game to go take some photos for a class, and that was my first time watching women's game. I was like, I don't see why people really hate on women's basketball. It's really enjoyable if you understand the fundamentals and you understand what the game is about. And then the unfortunate day, which is a tragic day, was January 26, 2020, which Kobe Bryant passed. And that was my birthday. And that's my birthday. And that's the thing. The guy that got me into this, that got me to really love this game, is gone. So that whole time during COVID, I'm thinking like, man, how am I going to get through this? So I was at home. I wasn't at campus. And especially sophomore year, I ended up having to stay at home. So what I ended up doing was I just started reading books. I was like, at this point, if I'm gonna be at the house, other than doing work, I'm just gonna start reading books. So I read Kobe's book on moment mentality, how he played, and it really showed me the mental side, really, of the game and how Kobe prepared. He trained, like he had no talent. He trained like he was a sponge. He trained like he was a rookie every single year. But when he got on the court, he knew confidently and he knew that he put in the work. So he understood that if guys are training at, say 9 to 10, if I train at 4, from 4 to 6, rest probably about what, let's say 8 to 10, go back at it 12, 12 to 2, it's 3 hours, rest 1 to 3, then train again at 4 to 6. That's 3 hours of training. I put in more time in the gym working on my craft, working on my game than the average person do. So what I can do, I'm putting in the work so nobody can question. Or I can question myself saying I didn't have time, I didn't put in work. And I was like, that's a great point because he was just a savant. He knew everything, and then detail was the thing before he ended up passing. It was like he broke down everything, and it was like, wow, the fundamentals. That he was looking at footwork, angles, in ways like Batman and Superman. It's like you have the Superman guys who the guy given ability, but Batman, he, even though he's a rich playboy guy, he doesn't have any super ability. He just uses his brain, and that's how it was. It's like that's the type of person I wanted to become. Where I didn't play college ball, I didn't play high school ball. I tried, but it was more so, 50-50. It was more of me than anything. But at the end of the day, I could have done better. I could have trained better. I could have done all these things. But I didn't want to live with regrets. So I was like, if I do give myself and commit myself to this sport, I'm trying to be the best I can be. And I got to put the fear aside. Because the one thing I did have a problem with was like doing this. Like I just couldn't even get in front of a camera and speak just to talk. But it's like at the end of the day, this is something I want to do, and it's something I can do 24/7. So I was like, why not give it a try? And then I got to junior year where I kind of got my break in why I really love the sports thing. So the same dude, Chris Bacon, ended up reaching out to me about writing for the paper, the school's paper, or MTSU sidelines. Then they had went through a break during COVID because of COVID. They lost some writers, and it was hard to really do things. So they needed new writers. So I ended up applying, and I got one of the spots as being a writer. So the first day I get there, and it was at the beginning of fall, I end up having to go cover a soccer game. Crazy as no. There was a soccer game going on, and this was on a Sunday. I end up going to cover it, and I keep in mind I had never watched soccer like that. I knew what it was because I played in the middle school with some of my friends. They kind of taught me, but I didn't understand. And I'm thinking like, I gotta write this. I don't even know like what to do. So I just asked my boss, Will Carter, he was the sports editor. He just told me just write it like a story. And I was thinking, okay, sports is a story. It's the game tells a story from the beginning, warm ups to when it's time to start. There's a story being told. So I went in there, found a seat. I just wrote. I'm just thinking like, let's see who scores, what led up to. Because the thing about soccer that's like intriguing is the people on the floor. There's kind of like a triangle form. Like you have the attacker, like the person with the ball, and you have the one person here. It was kind of gave me the triangle in the NBA, where it's like, how can we stunt that person's rotation? How can we stop that rotation from doing what it's doing? I was like, okay, I'm figuring it out. And then I get back to the room, I write the story, and it was great. I just had a few, AP style grammatical errors, but this is the first time writing. So I was like, okay, that's gonna happen. It's just the reality of the situation. And then kept writing for soccer, kept writing for soccer. Then when basketball came, this is my craft. So I definitely knew then how to tell a story. I wrote for the men's and the women's. We get to about November. There's an internship available, and I found it on Handshake. It was for BVM Sports, Best Version Media Sports, for those that don't know. And it was the last day to apply, and I ended up just applying to an internship. And I just gave a sample of what I wrote for my soccer games, the basketball games I wrote, and then I think like a few days later, the lady got back to me and said, if we're willing to, are offering you this position if you accept it. It's like absolutely, because I need an internship for my major anyway. So I was like, why not? I get the experience and I get to learn. So I get to the spring of my junior year, and I get ready to do my internship, and my boss is a guy named Logan Hans from Best Virgin Media Sports. He was the best guy I could have had because every week was a pitch week. Because I was already pitching double. Because I also had another cousin, Bacon, Chris Bacon, is advanced reporting in sports, and basically each week it was Monday was a pitch week. So Monday I'm pitching this story, Wednesday I'm pitching this story. So I was basically doing double time. Then think about it, I'm doing 4 of the classes that's online and another one that's in person too, like with radio, broadcasting a little bit with podcasts. So I was like, I got a lot on my plate. But I was like, this is what I want to do. This is the field I'm trying to get into. So I gotta find my edge and find a way to, stand out. But I enjoyed my experience because I was writing player profiles, coach profiles, stories of my choosing, and to write a story on my boss, Logan Hansen, for one of my classes anyway, feature story. But it was a great experience. It was like, this is what I want to do. And then I kept seeing all these, what was the definition of what sports media was and what I wanted my show to be when I made it. And I was thinking, okay, First Take's a good example, Skip and Shannon's a good example. But the thing about those shows is like I respect, the people that do them and what they put into it because they're one of the top ranking shows that people tune in. But it's like I just couldn't stand hearing narrative driven things like we're talking more like with the Nuggets, for example, who are in the finals. The first thing you hear on First Take is about the Lakers. Like, can we not appreciate the Nuggets who just beat them? Why are we talking about LeBron James when, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, literally 3 years ago were in the conference finals with them, and now Jokic coming off of two MVPs is now in his first finals, and he's a rare breed of a point center that we haven't seen because of the way he plays. Like stuff like that irritated me. We were talking more about the other guy or things that don't matter, just these narratives, like who's the better player or the Lakers. I'm like, we're not even talking about the game within the game. You know what made Jokic game, one so special. If you take away the box score, because I tell people that when I talk to them is that if you tell me about the game, tell me about the game without bringing up numbers. Don't even bring up the box score to me. I know they pop up on the game, but tell me like how Jokic impact. What did he do? Was he a force on the boards? Was he? How does he affect the game one on one? And he's not even a one on one player. He's best when he's for the guys, down on the guys on the floor because he can't. You can't let him score and pass. If you let him do both, like Draymond Green said, if you let him score and you let him pass and get assists, it's over with. And he was just killing the Lakers that game one off of simply like just letting the game come to him. And that's like the European player because they learn the fundamentals. That's the one thing you got to appreciate about them. They learn the fundamentals. So everybody over there can do everything. Here we're just more, athletic. Yeah, we're skilled, but it's like we can't even do like you don't even see barely people, get in the know how to front the post, how to get post position, pivot, simple things like angles and patterns. You just have a lot of pattern guys who just do the same one or two moves, and then you have a lot of shooters. We're just becoming this copycat league. Like we want to be like the Warriors. We're just layups and shooting. Like I remember talking to myself about like um with the copycat league, like the shots Steph Curry was taking. Like imagine if I was taking them when I first started playing, I probably would have never played again. My coach would have sat me down. So then I kind of figured out what type of show I did want. So I saw this guy named Ball Don't Stop, and his is run by Ekro Nagra. And he's breaking down the game. This is around 2019, and he was talking about the Raptors and Giannis. And then he brought up the thing with pure hooper. I was like, what is a pure hooper? Could somebody break it down for me? And then one of his controversial tweets that I saw was the Giannis and Zach LaVine, where he said, I would rather have Zach LaVine in the last minute of the game for a game winning shot, I think, than Giannis because Zach LaVine has skill because he can score inside the paint. He can knock down the midi. He can shoot the three. He can post up a little bit with his size. And he's got a bag where he's got more than just one move. So he doesn't have one move like where Giannis is half back dive to the paint where we could just basically put a wall, a box of one like Toronto or Miami does. So I was like, okay, this is what this means. Now I understand. And then I was trying to find something else. So when I was at home, I ended up finding Gilbert Arenas because I knew who he was, but I didn't really know who he was. I just heard his I just heard his name because you all know Gilbert Arenas for an unfortunate, locker room situation more than the play. And I was like, I actually like his show because he talks about the game within the game. He's not creating narratives, and he's just talking strictly hoops. So I was like, okay, I like this. And then when I really had respect for his show is when the Lakers played the Suns. They had just lost to the Suns game 6, 81 playing, and LeBron and it was off. And I was like, he kind of showed me like how to figure out the game, the mindset, how to be in attack mode, lineups, rotations, the feel. So it kind of had me appreciate the game even more. And I was like, if I can learn these things, if I can learn from guys like that, if I can do what they do and kind of get to the point where I was playing catch up, like I'm a sponge, so I'm learning like they learn. But the difference is I didn't play. So if I can learn hearing from the best and just hearing like, KD talk on, like JJ Reddick's another one. That's a great example. He does a great job. And then even hearing, still hearing guys that do sports like Jason Tim from the volume of Hoops Tonight. He's one of my inspirations for doing this too, because for a guy that really played, just college. He didn't play in the pros. He breaks down the game to his point. I was like, I understand this as well as if I had played. Like, and I got to the point where I was understanding little different things, like understanding what coaching was, understanding what this was, all these different things. So I was like, wow, this is a career, and I really want to make this a career. So this is why ultimately I just wanted to start Q Hoops, which is my own podcast where I just talk NBA, the game within the game, and talking, the best I can. And then even getting to the point where I can build this up to get a following to where I can talk, like with different guys, like House of Highlights, like Ball Don't Stop, like No Chill, Give It Arenas, uh, with his show. He gives arena now. Just anybody, like just talk with the best of them and just have a conversation where we just talk hoop, not even talking narratives, like not who would you take. It's like just talk hoops. That's what I want to do, and that's what I want to kind of do with this. Just give my input and what I've learned from the game. So this is kind of the reason why I started. And I wanted to make this be, a career of mine. It's just I'm tired of kind of sitting in the house and trying to find something in my field because like this type of thing is like if no one's gonna give you opportunity if you don't go out there and find your own. And the crazy part would end up making this kind of happen even more was I was actually at the hospital a few days for a family member who ended up having a little bit of an accident, and I just remember talking to my uncles and them about my career, and he ended up just playing. We was all having a good time, and he ended up saying, "I want to get you ready." So like interview me like I'm LeBron. So I'm thinking I'm just cracking up a joke, but I'm laughing, and I get serious and I ask him a question. I was like, "Yeah, how what went wrong in this game for? Walk me through the last play." So kind of get in that mode too. So I was like, that moment when I saw one of my uncles, he was in the hospital and he was doing well. It's like life's too short. You never know what could happen. One day you could, just be sitting in the room chilling. The next day, you know, you wake up wrong. You step on a foot. It's just like kind of with sports. Like you're one freak accident away from losing it all. And I knew like after my plan, I was like, I can't let all this time and money and valueness of learning this game go to waste. So I gotta put it towards something. That's why I started this, and I'm gonna be putting out content, around basically probably 20, 30 minutes where it's focusing on just one thing. Like one thing might be on the coaching carousel that's going on, like what is an NBA coach, like the finals that's going on now, previewing the Lakers or any teams offseason, just talking hoops, and then maybe some WNBA, maybe some other thing where I bring in my own experiences. It'll be limited a little bit, but it's you know truly what I want to do. I feel like it's time to put my name out there and show that I can talk with the best of the best. Getting to the point where I can be on those shows, like being on the volume with Jason Temp, or even talking, even with Draymond. Because like seeing Draymond Green, JJ Redick, guys that are former players or even current players making their own thing, like that's inspiration. That hey, if these guys can play in the game, like Draymond Green can play for the Golden State Warriors, and then after time, spend time just hitting a podcast and just hitting record and talking the game within the game, why can't I do it? And it's a point where I can learn. And I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just giving you, being a person who hadn't played ball, high school, college, or pros, or just playing catch up, trying to learn from the best. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm more of a sponge in this industry, and I'm trying to grow to become the best I can be and give them all. Just like Kobe's model, get better every single day. So about hitting the 30-minute mark, so we kind of want to go on and wrap this up. So I will probably, try to get out content every other day that I can. This is just my story, my journey with basketball, and what I want to really, truly get out of this. This is a new thing for me. Like I had done this before with my friend Dylan. We have the ISO podcast, and we had a co-host, and me and him were just talking. But we're gonna still have that up. I want to have my own thing. I was talking to him about it. I was like, I still want to have my own show where I can talk my own thing, and you can talk your own thing because we guys we think alike. And I like being around guys who can talk the game, and I hear different opinions. I just don't want to talk, analytics. Like, don't tell me a box score. Let's talk what was going through your mind in this play. What would you have done? Those different things. So it's like I want to talk strategy. I want to talk like it's us playing 2K against each other and we're figuring out strategies. I don't want to just hear that this guy is great and you don't have any, like it's like just being in a debate. If you don't have any proof, you don't have any facts, and you just talking out your, donkey, it's pointless. So this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I want to, put my name out there with the rest of them. I got different inspirations, like all the guys I just named, even Kenny Beecham, King of the Fourth Quarter. Like they're all inspirations because they're giving us all hope that we can do things like this, and we don't even ever had to step foot on a basketball court. We can just talk with the best and hear from the best. So this pretty much wraps it up. I'm gonna have some videos coming out shortly that talk about the game within the game. Probably first few finals will definitely pretty coming up soon. We'll probably get into the coaching hires that have happened recently, some news, the free agency, off season previews. We'll get into all that. But I appreciate all y'all for listening in. Make sure you tune in to Q Hoops. We're gonna be looking to get better every single day. That's the model. Just get better, get content out there, and hopefully I can get a following and growing. Try to get out some Instagram, TikTok short clips, and get basically what I'm doing here. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you go hit that like button, subscribe. We're out.